Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Naram Promotions, the real deal podcast show. Always pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, and always remember, God is in control. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And I said like, subscribe, share, and comment. All right. Welcome back. As always, we have a packed show for you. And as you know, the second debate was last night between the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party teams. So there was a deficiency on that debate stage with there's three other parties that are registered and they have candidates who will be seeking votes from the Jamaican population. And I was very disappointed not to see any representation from the UIC, the JPP, and the Independents, because they're also on the ballot. And I'm wondering, why is it that there is an emphasis on only the two main parties when the JPP has what 47 candidates that are vying for your votes, and also the UIC and the Independents? I just did not, it did not leave a good taste in my mouth there, because we did not see or listen to their perspective. So was that a problem? What happened there? Tell me in the comment section, why wasn't the other three parties represented? And we say, Easy, Charmaine Morgan, big up yourself. Welcome to the show. Yeah. So I don't understand why all parties were not represented at the debate. And I'm going to give my opinion of the two debates. However, you may not like my opinion, but you can tell me what you think in the comment section. So you can send me a comment. However, it was unusual in this year's general election in Jamaica that you have a debate and there wasn't all parties represented in the debates, because we'd like to hear everybody's perspective so that the general voting population will have an opinion of what what to expect from each party's candidates and also the next administration. So it gives them ammunition to vote. So that was not a good look. So let's kind of dive into the politics. And I counted something like there were 20 questions that, 19 questions that were posed, and you had the closing arguments or closing statements. So the first question was on the income tax threshold. There's not a lot there to to be to determine that will really sway anyone's attention. But I can't go all through all 20 of them. But what I can do is go through a few of these that I think that's important, extremely important. But before I dive into that, in true Naram fashion, let's bring on here a little joke, a couple of jokes to kind of set the tone. How about that? So here we go. First one up. Goodness gracious me. Those are the buses, right? What's rum doing on the buses? I don't know. I tell you. Goodness gracious me. I'm telling you, that was not a good look. I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, let's set another one up here before we dive into the main topics here. So this one is for the grown and matured, because ladies, um, bear with me. I gotta make sure I cue this upright and hit the pause button at a certain point. You understand? All right. So this is a joke for the ladies. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So let's line that up properly.
The
Let's
boy
go.
just grab up the two body take them so we say, yeah man, and the boy just stamp me on the back and me don't know why they smack. Them time me really feel a rod of correction. The boy correct the whole. Say, yes so. Correct it, shift it. Right there so I want it, mama. And the boy say, I be cock up that foot there. I say, chat, when I cock up that foot there, I feel like I do have no pussy. Boy just a stamp me so. I run, me that for run. Me serious. Me have to run, mama. Me say me run, go up in the bed corner. Me say the boy come up the back and just rub me little bit so chat. Me, you can't believe say me open up again. Me say me wicked to myself. Me say chat I open up again, chat, and the boy they stamp me same way. And me have to look and me have to open my eye and say me can't manage more. Me finish now. Me finish, please. And the boy just grab up the
Goodness gracious me. Okay. So let's get back to regular programming. And I'm telling you, that kind of sets the tone, right? So um let's see what's let me kind of clear the stage for this, because I'm gonna dive into the debate, and we're gonna touch a few of the questions that were posed and what the answers were given and the rebuttal. So let me get that on screen right now. So here we go. Um, here it is. Let's share that on our screen, and then we're gonna dive into this real real deep, guys. So let's get that on the screen. Okay, so the debates, and I'm gonna go from the section of the easing of the burden on parents, the back to school um expenses, that sort of thing. I think that kind of relates to the grassroots people who are dealing with certain stuff right now. And if you remember, in my previous podcast, we talked about the tolls going up, as well as we spoke about the used buses. I don't see why we should have garbage trucks that are brand new and old school buses to carry the children. It did not make sense. But anyways, in any the time that was given to each side to really relate their point is not enough to really expand upon the nitty gritty of the what the their their agendas. So it wasn't a true reflection, but the closing arguments would actually hash out the direction they want to take the country. Did they do a good job? I leave that to you. Put it in the comment section. I'm going to give my opinion on that in a few afterwards. And as I said, the first question was about income tax, and then the reduction of income tax to 15% was the second. The third was the high cost of barrels and remittances. The fourth was the cap on the public sector wages. The fifth was FinSac and the guarantees. I mean, corruption. Those kind of things, where the guardrails that secure the Jamaican public and taxpayer from overruns like FinSac, SSL, and so on. I could start from there. Yeah, let's start from right there. So let me get that queued up, so that we can get things going. So that was about a minute and 12 seconds in. So let's line that up. No, an hour and 12. So let's go down to an hour and 12. Yeah. So let's line that up. It was an hour and 12 flat. So let's roll it back. And here we go. So we're queuing that up here. There it is. So let's get it started, guys. I'm gonna run it through from the FinSac, the corruption guarantees. I mean, what guarantees against corruption we have, and the easing of the burden on parents, the removal of the job ad, when they advertise the chief technical director for the financial investigative department. I think that's the name, FID, and the funding and financing for small businesses, and also the brain drain. I'm going to kind of move over public sector and then go to debt reduction and the people's test. I think that's more of a beneficial kind of argument. So let's get into it. So here we go, guys.
The high interest rate FinSac era was devastating for the Jamaican economy. A World Bank debt management paper dated 21/12/2001 reads in part, the ensuing rapid growth of FinSac debt worsened as interest rates continued to rise, leading to a stock debt of $142 billion as of March 2001. That's about 43% of GDP. This added to an already large pre-crisis public debt burden of more than 100% of GDP, leading to an unsustainable debt path. That period also decimated a generation of local entrepreneurs, so much so that a generation later, many are still reticent to invest in the productive sector. What guarantee can you give under your administration that Jamaica will never see history repeating itself, and how do you intend to honor that guarantee?
Well, what we have to ensure is that the agencies that have responsibility for managing and regulating the financial services sector are actually manned by individuals who are competent and professional. The Bank of Jamaica, the Financial Services Commission, ensuring the BOJ now is an independent agency that has the responsibility for managing interest rates and primarily inflation. At the time when FinSac took place, the government intervened to ensure that all depositors got back their money. What we want to see is the FinSac report published. The country spent $150 million on a FinSac commission, and I know we can't get the report. We want the FinSac report out. And while you're at it, we will publish the SSL report, because we noticed that depositors have gotten $2. If them did have $100 and there's only $2 them get back. But the most honorable Prime Minister got all his money out of SSL before it collapsed. That is what justice means. We will publish the SSL report, and it is a failure on their part that after all these years, given the impact of FinSac, that there is no report, no independent report. What we have seen is drips and drabs being leaked out by that side. So when we talk about FinSac, let's get all the facts on the table and release the Kroll report from SSL.
Time up. Interesting that that side can speak as if they're ignorant of FinSac, when some on that very side were involved during the FinSac period and benefited. Just recall the 40-40-40. You mentioned it. 40% of GDP to recover from FinSac. 40,000 businesses lost their money. 40% being offered by merchant banks to make a profit. And DB&G made on average 40% return on their investments, which one of the principles sits across me right here. They cannot talk about fiscal discipline. They cannot talk about management and economy. They presided over the FinSac era. They drove people in some instances to commit suicide based on news reports. They have no moral authority and certainly no economic management, and they are still there. The Jamaican people cannot trust them.
Thank you, time. Al, you wanted to use one of your two follow-up questions?
The first one, yes.
Proceed.
The JLP government has presided over macroeconomic stability. Public debt has come from over 140% of GDP in 2013 to 70% in fiscal year 24-25. Unemployment now stands at just 3.3%. According to Statin, as of July this year, Jamaica's annual headline inflation rate stood at 3.3%. The Bank of Jamaica says as of August 12, 2025, Jamaica's gross international reserves stood at US 6.2 billion. The World Bank, the IMF, the rating agencies all commend Jamaica for this economic performance.
So let's kind of move this down to where I want it to be at when we're talking about the easing of the burdens to children, parents for children returning to school. So let's get that going.
Keisha is asking, many schools are without basic resources, and as such, some schools are asking parents to contribute certain resources, whether it be in cash or kind. Seeing that economically, parents are struggling to pay school fees and meet other needs, how will your administration, if elected, resolve this issue so there will be an ease on parents' pockets?
Team JLP.
Thank you for that question. And we definitely understand the burden that a lot of our parents feel. And it is for that reason that we have focused quite a bit on how we can get our children to school. Let me give you some realities from going around to our schools, especially in rural areas. When I go to school on a Friday, classes are sometimes half empty. And when you ask our teachers why, they say money ran out. What keeps them at home? High transportation costs and also the high cost of lunch.
You know, it's kind of strange that at this point, I don't know if she was thinking correctly, but there has been 9 years since the Jamaica Labour Party has been in power. And she's talking about the high cost of living. And it is for the government strategies and also how they handle the economy and the people to ease that burden. So the complaints here, in terms of the high cost that the parents and families are facing, should have been eased over those 9 years, don't you think? But that's my opinion. Tell me in the comment section what you think. Here we go.
And that's what we have decided to focus on. The rural school bus system is precisely because of that. I had one mother in St. Thomas say to me, it costs her $1,200 a day to send one of her children to school, and that it is so expensive that she ends up having to choose which one goes to school sometimes. We cannot have a country like that. In addition to that, in terms of our meals, we have expanded meals to 5 days a week for those on path who need it the most. In addition to that, we're now going to be adding breakfast to our students in our schools that are the most underperforming.
And don't you think that these should have been done already? And also advanced to a more on a larger scale? Over the 9 years, let's be honest here. This should not be something that is projected to be done in the future by the reigning, the current government. These should be in place from day one when they got in power, not promising that this is going to happen in the future. Let's go.
All of that on the backs of the hard work of Minister Williams and the Minister of Finance team. We understand the costs and we're working hard, including in providing more books in the public sector so that our parents can have less of a burden.
Time, Team PNP, your 90 seconds.
Chris, you're correct that DBNG was a very successful company. And it was a publicly listed company that our audited financial statements were open to the public. So everyone knows where Peter Bunting and Mark Golding got their wealth from. You and your prime minister cannot say the same. Now, in terms of our arrangements for public transportation, particularly rural school transportation, that school bus system was a political gimmick. We cannot be buying new trucks to transport garbage, and we're buying 15-year-old buses to transport our most precious cargo. our children. That was just an opportunity for somebody to eat a food. Let us be clear about that. It was totally unsuitable. In deep rural communities, we cannot afford parallel transportation systems, a school bus and a system for adults.
Now, I want you to listen carefully here and tell me, what do you think? There were some critics that were saying the numbers did not add up because the amount of students to what they're promising, the money is far greater than what he's proposing. But I would respectfully disagree, because this is not for 100% of students. I'm not sure. I'm sure 100% of the students will have access to what he's saying. However, I don't think 100% of the students will be using what he's saying. So there's got to be leeway for play here. But listen to what Mr. Bunting is saying, and you make sense of it, and tell me if it makes sense, because what they're proposing here, instead of the school buses, is something totally different that includes the taxi and bus operators for the adults. So it's like a combination, and it will help to fuel the grassroots economy. So let's check it out.
So what we have proposed is a subsidy of 10,000 per month per child for those parents who need it, for those children who are unable to attend school 5 days a week. What we have proposed is a hot meal every day for those children who need it. That is real progress.
I'm surprised too, Peter, that the Minister of Education is speaking as if she didn't know all of this.
Time. Andrea, your question for Team JLP.
The requirement for 12-year experience in law enforcement was removed from the January 2025 job advertisement for the position of Chief Technical Director of the Financial Investigations Division. Why was the law enforcement requirement removed?
I want to make it clear that on the job description for the head of the FID, there are a number of different qualifications that an applicant could have.
And I believe that this is where it went downhill for the Jamaica Labour Party. I think they should have been more assertive here. This is a burning issue, and I do not think they did a good job here in answering this question. So continue to listen.
There were at least 6 different skill sets that applicant could have. When the whole process of going through recruiting was done outside of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, and they went through a very public recruitment process. The job was advertised, interviewed. No one qualified to be accepted. Normally, in the course of advertising for jobs, if you go out once, if you go out twice, and you see that you're not getting the skill set, the particular skill set, and the job description allows you to be flexible, then obviously, as a responsible HR person looking to fill the position, then you would do that. That is what was done. There's nothing underhanded about it. It was all transparent. And we have a very competent person heading the FID currently. And I look forward to continue working with him.
Team PNP, your rebuttal.
This is not true. I know as a certain fact that senior police officers with investigative experience for many years, who have coordinated international investigations, who have headed the intelligence bureau, they applied for the job and they were turned down. The truth of the matter is it was a set hand. Dennis Chung applied for the job when he said he saw nothing wrong with in the Integrity Commission report. There were clear red flags for money laundering, cash from undisclosed depositors deposited to the Prime Minister's personal account, 470 billion flowing through multiple accounts. That's called layering. These were clear red flags.
Thank you very much. Time. Al, your question for Team PNP.
A look at MSMEs. Many people looking to fund a business in Jamaica bemoan the strangulating red tape and lack of access to finance from lending institutions. In the new century, we're seeing the rise of new types of businesses, young people into digital technology, the creative and services sector. Harold Davis of Jamaica Business Development Corporation makes a point that access to finance has two sides of the coin, and that it's appropriateness of the financial product that is available. And when I say appropriateness, I speak of the product that is right for the particular industry or the particular stage of business of the entrepreneur. What will you do to address this and better help small businesses in Jamaica?
Now, this you got to listen to carefully, guys. And this has to do with the small businesses in Jamaica. So when I say small business, you're not talking about Grace Kennedy, you know what I mean? Or, you know, you're talking about the grassroots here, you know, the people that really need funding to keep their business afloat, and also to get proper financing in a fast way, so that there's no gaps or there's no doubt or uncertainty in their business. So let's listen to the answers that both sides give.
Wholeheartedly agree. As a matter of fact, as a former CEO of a financial institution in Jamaica, I can say it's a problem that we struggled with in the absence of government having adequate policy and facilities to make it happen. We will, as the next PNP administration, ensure that we revisit the loan processes for our MSMEs. We recognize that they're an important part of the engine of growth for the economy, and we recognize their struggles. We note that we would have to help them with some amount of business planning. We'd have to help them to get themselves ready to borrow. But it's a win-win situation. When they borrow, they're able to grow. When they grow, they're able to contribute to the economy, and we will be able to get tax revenues from them. So it's very important for us to have our MSMEs grow, and to also encourage young entrepreneurs in the economy to participate.
What we are going to do is remove income tax for MSMEs for the first 3 years. Why are we doing this? The reason MSMEs remain informal is because they don't want to pay tax. But remaining informal limits their growth because they can only get money from friends and families and a partner draw. So by removing the income tax for the first 3 years, they can formalize, they can grow, they can access bank, equity funding. That is what we are doing to grow the MSME sector.
Time. Thank you. Thank you, Team JLP. Your rebuttal.
PNP talks a good talk, but in reality, that's not the fact. 2015, 8,000 companies were registered with the company office. 2024, 23,000 companies, twice that number. The fact is, Jamaicans are more energized to form companies, to come out of the informal sector. DBJ over that 8-year period loaned almost $70 billion US, 117 billion of investments, 86,000 applicants. That is why our economy has started to turn around. And I want to say to Peter that he must be careful about innuendos, hearsays, and propaganda. First of all, your FinSac era, I don't know how you're comfortable with it. The contractor general at the time accused you of sweetheart dealings, you and your partners. You cannot now say that you earn your money in a way that is legitimate and above board.
Time. Amoy had a question from social media.
This question is from TikTok, the user who...
Well, this has to do with brain drain. The country suffering from brain drain. So let's look into this. And then we're going to move on to debt reduction in versus the people's test. What is it the country is more focused on? Is it it has to do with the debt reduction, and we're leaving the people of the small man behind, or is it that they're going to focus on the small man and also be fiscally responsible. So let's go. This was a brilliant question, and here we go.
Sent in this question is Kamar Jackson. Under the current administration, brain drain has become an increasingly pressing issue, negatively impacting our economy. Considering the various causes of this trend, such as limited employment opportunities, inadequate compensation, and governance concerns, what specific strategies and reforms would your government implement to address the key drivers of this problem and ensure the retention of skilled professionals?
Team JLP.
Thank you very much for that question, Cameron Jackson. That area of brain drain has been an issue for a long time. I saw it. I left university in 2001, and most of my classmates left this country because they didn't feel there was an opportunity. And it's for that reason why we focused a lot of our policies. And if you look in our manifesto, there's a huge section for young people, because we believe in a few things. We believe that every young person, as they've told us, wants to own a home one day. And that's why we have allocated 15% of every NHT house built to our young people who are under 35. We're also increasing employment. 280,000 more young people have been brought into the labor force. We're providing jobs, and we're looking for higher paying ones through the work that we're doing in terms of training our people. 500,000 young people have been trained since 2020 at Heart, and we're going to continue doing that.
In addition to that, let me remind Jamaica that it is this government that has brought unemployment to its lowest level ever. In fact, the participation rate in the job market is 68%, the highest it has ever been. Under their watch, people lost jobs. They borrowed and spent, or tax and spent. Under this government, no new taxes, and jobs have been created. This is a more responsible government, and the future of young people are brighter with the JLP.
Thank you. Team PNP, your 90 seconds to answer the question.
Raising the tax threshold to 3.5 million, the tax-free threshold to 3.5 million, is one of the most fundamental and revolutionary things we can do to retain our best and brightest. As I said, this is a manifesto that we've put forward, not just about a campaign for the next election. This is about the next generation. We want to ensure that our teachers, our nurses, our police officers can provide for their families in the way they should. We want to rebuild the working class and the middle class. We want to ensure that buying a house, buying a car, aspiring to improve, to lift your whole generation is not merely a dream. So yes, what we have proposed is radical.
So let's get that off the screen and go back to regular programming. Here we go, guys.
It's going to require a shaking up and a reordering of all the priorities of government. That's not accidental. We're working for a social revolution. People are not going to elect a new government to do the same thing that the outgoing one is elected to do.
When I hear them speak, I wonder which young people they're speaking about. When I speak to young people, they tell me they have no hope of owning a home. With the NHT limit being raised to 9 million, the problem is that the houses cost 40 million. There's no hope.
Time, Mr. Sanders, time. We now take a short break and invite you to stay.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move it forward to that. This is the focus of where are these leaders looking to bring the Jamaican public or the Jamaican taxpayer, the Jamaican people? What direction are you looking at? There has to be fiscal responsibility, and you got to service the debt. But however, you can't do it at the behest of the people of Jamaica. So the small man in the street, small woman, and the poor people in Jamaica are feeling the crunch, and it's now time for the people to be given that break. As you heard before, moving I think this was brilliant when they say they're going to move the threshold to 3.5 million to give that break to the small man. and also the public sector workers and so on. Also, it was brilliant when they're talking about also let's first listen to where the focus is, and I'm going to comment on it. So, but I need to see your opinion in the comment section. Comment and be respectful, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a debate. There's no way you're going to hear everything that you want to hear, or they cannot explain everything that they're doing in a debate. They have to be more precise and concise in a debate and try to bring over their points as quickly as possible. So let's continue, and here we go.
Finance, Peter Phillips, balanced the budget. Minister Phillips met the targets for the primary surplus and the budget deficit. The JLP said at the time, including you, Minister Williams, that the then PNP government was preoccupied with passing the IMF test and not the people's test. Can it be said of this JLP administration that it is preoccupied with reducing the debt instead of growing the economy and passing the people's test?
We are passing the people's tests. If you look at what we have done, what we have achieved, all that we have achieved, we have done it for the people of Jamaica. Look at roads, look at new jobs created, look at the level of inflation, look at the number of houses that are being built. We are going gangbusters. Every day we wake up, it is to grow the economy. During our administration, we have grown the economy. We have had 33 quarters of growth, interrupted only by COVID and by Hurricane Beryl. We wake up every day to ensure that this economy expands so that there are opportunities for our men and women in the society.
When we speak of the people's test, all these nice economic jargon about GDP and debt to GDP ratio and all of that don't mean anything to the ordinary person, to most of our Jamaicans. What they think about is how is everything that we're doing affecting the quality of their life. We're giving more water. 350,000 more people have water, 280,000 more jobs created. We are improving the quality of life of our people.
Team PNP, your rebuttal.
What I want to ask every Jamaican, is your life better? Can you afford the same things you used to be able to afford? Do you have to choose between paying your utilities, buying food, or buying medication? Is your life better?
The lived reality, notwithstanding the macroeconomic numbers of most Jamaicans, is a struggle to put food on the table. When you go to the supermarket or the corner shop, you pick up things and you have to put it back down. If you suffer the misfortune of going to a hospital, you have to sit down on one chair for 2 or 3 days. And what we have seen at Cornwall Regional, it moved from 1.5 billion to 25 billion. That is the waste that we will eliminate so we can put money back in the hands of the Jamaican
Thank you very
people.
much. I would like to use the second and final.
So let's kind of move
What
that
in your
forward.
hands directly support?
So we're going to move it forward to middle income Jamaicans. What we want to stick with the low and middle and lower income Jamaicans, because that's where the rubber hits the road. Here we go.
Towards middle income Jamaicans who are caught in the squeeze.
Team PNP.
So the contrast between the JLP's approach of reducing the income tax rate for everyone versus the PNP's approach of lifting the threshold is a prime example of that. The cabinet ministers and the prime ministers will benefit the most from the reduction in the rate of income tax. Police officers, nurses, doctors, security guards, public servants, those who are at the rank and file of the police level, everyone who earns under 3.5 million will be the major beneficiaries of our program. That is what differentiates our approach from theirs. They talk about prosperity. It's prosperity for them and their cronies. When we talk about putting people at the center of our policies and programs, it's because we want to lift everyone. We want to lift those at the bottom. We want to build out the middle class. We want education to become a bridge from one generation to another to move them to another level in society.
And we will continue to lift the standards of the majority of the Jamaican people. The income tax threshold, we're going to remove tax on overtime so that our security guards, our nurses will get a break and you put more money in their pockets.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Team JLP.
The PNP does not understand how the economy works. First of all, they talk about our performance. Our performance we're very proud of. We created the lowest poverty rate in the country on record. We created more jobs with more participation in the economy on record. And while we're doing that, we are building out new industries in digital technology, in our port facilities, for logistics hub, as well as maintaining and building on the traditional industries that are there. Most persons in Jamaica today, young persons who have a skill, can find a job. That was not the case under the People's National Party. And I want to just come back to this issue of corruption, because they seem to think that they can speak about things in mid-air without any evidence, innuendos and suppositions, as if people are going to accept that. What the Jamaican people want is who is going to look after them, who will bring down crime. Peter Bunting depended on divine intervention without work. In fact, he is on record, I believe, as the only Minister of National Security who was unable to secure himself. And I am happy he's okay from that unfortunate incident in Portland. But it speaks to confidence in their policy to reduce crime. This government has reduced crime by 30, the lowest over 30 years. And this is what Jamaicans want. They felt unsafe under the PNP. They feel a lot safer under the Jamaica Labour Party.
Mr. Tufton, thank you. Time. We now take a short break and invite you to stay tuned.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the general elections debate. Let's kind of let that flow, and we're gonna go into let you know about the lending rates. They're gonna talk about cutting lending rates, because it is critical to boost the economy, and it's vital for the small man, those in the grassroots. So let's hear that section, and I think it's coming up right now. Let's see that. Well, here we go. It's going to be right about here. Let's go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
We invite you.
Discover our lightweight weed trimmer.
So hold on a second. Let's get that off the screen, and let's get back cutting lending rates. Here we go.
Public to send us your questions via direct message on Instagram, Facebook, and the TikTok. Send them to Jamaica Debates. We now ask Andrea to start the final segment, with a question for Team JLP.
The central bank has cut its policy interest rate from 7% in July 2024 to 5.75% in August 2025. The regulator has been pleading with the banks, the commercial banks, to further reduce lending rates, but it's not happening fast enough. What will your administration do to further pressure banks to cut their lending rates?
So we are seeing interest rates come down, and we're getting early signs that the rates to borrowers is also coming down. Just recently, I was speaking to the DBJ. You know that the DBJ on-lends to the banks to lend to our MSMEs, and DBJ reported that they are seeing lower rates in the marketplace from banks. As the Bank of Jamaica bring rates down, which it will, we fully expect that our borrowers are going to begin to see lower rates in the marketplace on the various loans.
I think that the reforms that are taking place within the banking sector, the independent central bank, which has to drive this issue. That's why we supported the independence of the central bank. And competition, what we have been working on, but I do agree we need to work on it more, and this is for the next administration, is to make it easier for someone to move their account from one bank to the next. We believe ultimately in the market, within reason, of course, with a regulatory framework, not like them who allowed an attempt at liberalization that drove us into FinSA.
Thank you, Team PNP, your rebuttal.
Before the break, Chris had the gall of claiming success with crime. The fact is that more Jamaicans have been murdered under this JLP administration, almost 13,000 murdered in their 2 terms than in any other 2 terms in the history of Jamaica. That is failure, not success. We commend the police for the job they've been doing this year in reducing it, but you can't take credit for that. That's despite your failed SOE policies.
What we will do to ensure that the banking sector is more competitive, we are going to ensure government deposits. There's a system to ensure that all banks participate in government deposits.
Thank you, time.
So we're gonna move into food imports, and I think this hits the farmers. This is a big issue, and we're gonna touch on that. Then we're gonna go into the health sector, and I think that's Christopher Tufton's area of expertise, and you're gonna be the judge of whether or not they did a good job answering the health sector question has to do with hospitals and the health sector. So we're going to touch on food imports, and I think this was critical. And then we're going to move on to the health sector. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Al, I invite you to pose a question to Team PNP.
The former CEO of Grace Kennedy, the late Don Webby, consistently called on Jamaica to reduce its food importation bill by half by 2030. Given that Jamaica spends around $1 billion a year on imported food, and according to the FAO, Jamaica's food imports account for approximately 21% of its total merchandise imports, what will your government be doing to reduce the food importation in a meaningful way?
Under the JLP administration, the imported food cost has doubled. It was $800 million 10 years ago. It is now $1.6 billion. That 800 million US dollars, or about 150 billion Jamaican dollars, should be going into the pockets of the farmers of South Manchester, South St. Elizabeth, and farmers all over Jamaica. We have committed to forming an agricultural development fund. This is going to ensure that we inject new technology, new machinery into our farming communities. It's going to ensure that we put adequate post-harvest storage and processing facilities in place to reduce the 30% or more that's lost. We are going to ensure that funding is available for our farmers.
And we commit to the Jamaican people and to the farmers of Jamaica to reduce importation by 25% in our first term. We also commit to helping farmers access financing at more affordable rates and terms. We also commit to helping them with products such as insurance to ensure that when natural disasters hit, the impact to them for recovery is not as high.
Team JLP, your
First of all, there is a need to do more to develop our local industry for self-sufficiency, but also for export. The fact is, this government has done a lot. In fact, if you look at the last 8 years on domestic export has gone up by some 31%. What it means is that more local companies within a much friendlier environment are in fact producing and exporting. But it is a fact that we are importing more at the same time. That is simple. We have an economy that affords the capacity to demand more. We have a thriving tourism industry, and we have a consumer who is earning more. This will contribute to a greater demand. It's a process, but it's also a sign of success by this government.
Thank you.
So, ladies
From
and
Kingston
gentlemen,
says,
you be the judge of that, and tell me who had the better answer. Say it in the comment section because I know what my opinion is. So, let's go. Let's move on to the health sector. So let me kind of roll that back a little. Yep, here we just a second. Here we go. All right. A little bit more. There it is. Okay, so let's move into the health sector. Here we go, guys.
from Kingston says, free healthcare means little if hospitals don't have CT machines, x-rays, or even basic supplies. What short-term financial measures will you take within the first 2 years, if you win, to fix these shortages and ensure patients can actually access proper care?
Team PNP, you go first.
You know, I really wanted the Minister of Health to focus on these issues, but him seem more preoccupied with dealing with FinSAC and other people business.
30 years
Because
ago.
if he spent more time dealing with Cornwall Regional, we wouldn't have a $25 billion overrun. If he spent more time dealing with the hospital sector, when people go there, they wouldn't have to sit on a wooden chair for 3 days. And when they have to do an MRI or CT scan, they have to pay $50,000 for go. And the same ambulance for take them have to pay for it too. And them can't get toilet paper in the hospital. Our health sector is failing despite the amount of money we have spent. It is the inefficiency of the Jamaica Labour Party why we are here. We are going to ensure the dignity of Jamaicans who have to traverse our public health system. They have been failed by this administration. And that is why we are committed to ensuring that monies which come into the coffers go for the benefit. So when we look on the drill and we drill down, it shouldn't cost $31 million for a $3 million drill. Because what does that do? When you go to the hospital, you have to pay now based on that wastage, that corruption, and that inefficiency. What can go so, Jamaica? How can you feel comfortable?
There are currently no CT scan or MRI services available at Mandeville Regional Hospital because the private providers have not been paid.
Time, Team JLP.
Well, let me just start by saying I wasn't the one in 2015 who said we had to use garbage bags as aprons or cut a soap in two. That is their spokesperson of health who spoke about the crisis in the system. So we have come a long way, and we started from a very low base. It is incorrect to say we don't have CT scan, just to say to your social media person. We have CT scans, we have MRIs. In fact, we have more digital machines in our health system than any time before. We need more, but we have done better than the PNP up to 2015 when they were there. Oh, I have more time. Let me also say, because I have a lot to say, that we have embarked on the largest expansion of hospital build-out than any other government since independence, the largest upgrading of health centers than any other government since independence. We have hired we have put in our establishment over 3,000 doctors and nurses, double the numbers of community health aides, and last year we served up 3 million prescriptions to Jamaicans on the National Health Fund. In their 2015 year, they did less than 1 million. The facts are that more Jamaicans are being served by our health system. Do we need to do more? I am the first to say yes, which is why we need the next term to complete the work that we are doing. They talk about the issue, they did nothing. As far as corruption is concerned, that's innuendos and talk, no proof of that. And I condemn them for that kind of position.
Thank you. All right, we're at that segment at that point in the debate where we allow the teams to ask a question of the other, yeah?
So we're gonna go all the way through to the closing statements. Then I'm gonna just give my analysis at the end. All right. So this is the second debate of the Jamaican parties that are vying for the votes of the Jamaican people in on the date of September 3rd. That's the general elections in Jamaica. I'm so disappointed that there's the other three parties that are registered are not represented here. Only the two major parties, that's the PNP and the JLP. So we're going to go into, just left out of the health sector. Then the JLP is going to ask a question of the PNP, and the PNP is going to ask a question of the JLP. Then you're going to have closing arguments. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
We're going to start with Team JLP posing a question to Team PNP.
Let's get that off the screen and go back to regular programming. Here we go.
Thank you. It is our considered view that the 3.5 million threshold increase that was recently announced is nothing but a Sam-Fi political scam. In the beginning, it was 2.1, then it became 3, then it disappeared, and then it appeared 1 week before an election. You have to tell the people of Jamaica, I ask you to tell the people of Jamaica, is this just an election scam, or is it that you are going to be cutting much needed services such as NHF, where we spend $19 billion for drugs in hospitals, or university spending, which is $17 billion? Tell us how you plan to really cut discretionary areas, as you have called them.
I answered the question already, but I'm going to answer it again for the Jamaican people. I have said we are going to raise the threshold to $3.5 million. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that because your budget says that $140 billion of additional government revenues will be earned over 3 years. But that is at your 1% growth, which you have no ambition on. We're going to grow the economy by more than that so that we can pay for these things. There's also a benefit when you put more money in the hands of people because they're going to spend it, which will allow the government to collect more on GCT and other indirect taxes. We are the party committed to ensuring that all Jamaicans thrive and not just a few. Our plan is better. It is more equitable. Their plan will benefit the richer people more. Ours will benefit the working people, our nurses, our policemen, the security guards, the civil servants, to put more money to ease the pressure of the cost of living that they have to face. That is our commitment as a party of social justice and equality. So when you talk about Samfire, what Samfire you're talking about? Madness you're talking about? We will deliver on behalf of the Jamaican people. We have a history of protecting our most vulnerable and ensuring that they have more money to spend so that they can protect their families and those around them.
Time. JLP, you have a 45-second rebuttal.
Jamaicans, the 3.5 million threshold is the largest political scam. They cannot tell you how they're going to fund it. They look at the current budget, they see the projections growing to 140 billion, but they don't tell you that expenses are also growing. So that's not available for you to use towards the 3.5. And you also put out an ad showing how much people are going to get on a monthly basis. You know that's a lie. They may get it for 1 month, but it's not going to be there. The 3.5 that you're talking about cannot be done.
Williams, thank you. Time. Team PNP, your turn to pose a question to Team JLP.
How can you be trusted to keep promises when you've broken promises on impeachment legislation, unexplained wealth orders, term limits, grand referenda? You've attacked the Integrity Commission relentlessly. You've undermined them. You have even failed to sign the Code of Conduct, basic principles dealing with integrity, honesty, selflessness, and accountability. How can anybody take your word? How do they know that those candidates who are under investigation for illicit enrichment are not offering themselves out there right now to the public, secretly knowing that they are corrupt? The clock isn't working, by the way.
Oh, the clock isn't. Okay, I'm just going to still go ahead and answer that question. It's a very curious question because I know in the 90s when I became politically aware, I remember politics and scandals. I remember hearing light bulb scandal, fat cat scandal, and then the mother of all scandals, FinSac. When you look in your dictionary and you look for scandal, you see the PNP right there. In terms of the Integrity Commission, it is this administration that implemented it. It is this administration that puts $2 billion annually to it. It is this administration in our manifesto that says we're going to strengthen our corruption prevention mechanisms in this country. It is this administration that has delivered Jamaica's best anti-corruption score. And it's not us that said it. It is an international body, Transparency International. We have been the ones that have been taking Jamaica on the path of anti-corruption, not the PNP.
In addition to that, let me just say very clearly that the Jamaican people are concerned about their lives, their livelihood, their communities, and by extension, Jamaica. They talk, we deliver. We have delivered the lowest unemployment, the lowest poverty, reduced crime despite Peter's objection by over 40%, the lowest in 30 years. That is what is important to the people of Jamaica.
Mr. Tufton. Time, thank you. Team PNP, you have a 45-second rebuttal.
It's interesting that they say that people are concerned about their standard of living because they're talking about things that happened in the 90s. That's over 30 years ago. Young people who are listening, does that affect your life now? Yet still, they're not speaking about the scandals that young people, anybody 25 years and younger, would have experienced what happened with rural reading education, to the point that education is behind. We are celebrating as a country five subjects being attained by 19% of our children. That's 1 in every 5. Is your child one of the 5 that is attaining 5 subjects? And if your child is not, what is happening to them? Our standards are too low. What happened to the used car scandal? What happened to Petrojam scandal? And I'm sure there are many others. Come on, man. 30 years ago, we're talking about.
Thank you, Mrs. Anderson. Thank you. Time. Okay. What we're going to do now is this. We're going to invite Team PNP to deliver a closing statement of 2 minutes in length.
You know what the fine is for not having brake lights on a trailer?
Let's get this off the screen and go to the closing statements. Here we go.
Jamaica, the current macroeconomic figures look good, but what is your lived reality? What do you go through every single day? The reality you face is that you're living hand to mouth. You're working, but you can only afford to go to work and come back based on the wages that you earn. You are working poor. 55% of Jamaicans are considered food insecure, which means they cannot afford to eat a proper meal per day. If they go to the hospitals that Chris supposed to bill, them can't find toilet paper or a bed. Jamaica, you deserve better. Time come for a better life. The next People's National Party administration will lift the tax threshold to 3.5 million so we can put more money in the pockets of working Jamaicans. We're going to eliminate the tax on overtime so that, again, people can get a break. The same people who are working hard to build our economy. We're going to run a more efficient economy so that this thing called the Office of Plenty Ministries, that is a bottleneck where nothing can go through and it takes you a year to do something. We're going to eliminate those efficiencies so that we can grow the economy beyond 1%. We are going to ensure that anybody who is the first in their family gets a scholarship, and that means for persons who are currently at university. We're going to ensure that those who are buying a house get the $500,000 deposit. And I want to assure persons who earn over 3.5 million that this tax benefit is for you too. So what are we going to do? We're going to build a Jamaica in which all Jamaicans can feel a part of. So come September 3rd, when you go to the polling station, I want you to think carefully. I want you to use your head and put the X beside the head.
Time. Thank you. May I add that the order of the closing statement was predetermined by a coin toss. Team JLP, your 2 minutes.
My fellow Jamaicans, in 2016, you asked the Jamaica Labour Party, you gave them your vote of confidence to correct the ills within our economy caused by the People's National Party. They served 24 of 27 years and created more debt, more unemployment, more poverty than any other administration. Fast forward to today, 2025, we have the lowest poverty rate, we have the lowest unemployment rate, we have a macroeconomic stable society, we have more companies registering to start their business, we have crime that has been the monster of your business, your personal life, down the lowest in 30 years, all by the policies of this government. We still have some ways to go. Our hospital and health centers have embarked on the largest expansion and build out. They left it as a disaster. We have had to correct it. We ask you on September 3rd, give the Jamaica Labour Party the opportunity to continue the work. We have done more for you than any other administration, and certainly more than the PNP has ever done. They are now coming with a 1-week plan, essentially, to get your vote by claiming 3.5 when they rejected our 1.5 when we started. They don't know how to get us there. We will get you there. We are about protecting yourselves, your families, your communities by doing what is necessary. That is all that matters. Their diversion around innuendos, rumors, targeting persons, and character assassination does not impact you in your community. It is about the water, the road, the health services, and this government has done more. On the 3rd of September, put your X beside the bell. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
Thank you. In the good spirit of the debates, we invite Team JLP and Team PNP to meet in the middle and shake hands.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it, and now I'm going to give you my take on all of this. And I was, we have Mr. Wallace? Big up. Good night, Mr. Wallace, and welcome to Nara Promotions, the Real Deal Podcast Show. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me kind of break this down in the simplest way possible. Both parties are riddled with corruption. It's quite clear. From the arguments you've heard on the debates, you know that's a given. However, the burden of the JLP was to lay out what they have done and also lay out in a clear way what are the plans they have organized for the future of Jamaicans and Jamaica. That was the burden of the JLP. The PNP, on the other hand, had the burden of laying out their future plans in a clear and concise way so that each and every voter can understand what their direction is. So both parties' burden was to lay out their future directions, because it doesn't matter so much what happened in the past, is where we're going. So on the JLP side, they've been there for 9 years. So it should be absolutely clear. So they have more of a burden to kind of paint the picture to the public, which should not be a burden, because it should be obvious. Therefore, there needed to also to be representations from the other listed parties so we can hear their perspective. I don't know what happened to the JPP, UIC, and the independents, because we'd have loved to hear their views of what direction they want to take the country and how they're going to do it. That was deficient, and I think that was robbing the Jamaican voters of their opinion, because they're on the ballot. Now, did these two major parties do a good job? I leave that to your opinion. However, in my opinion, there were no clear winners. If you listen carefully and you know what's going on, if you do your research, then I don't see the pendulum moving in any direction in those two major parties. I think there was no clear winners. What I do believe there was the Jamaican voters were major losers, because what should have been laid out in according to the economy of Jamaica was not really laid out, and there was missing information from the other three parties of their view, so that the Jamaican people can hear what are the Jamaican voters can hear what their opinions are. So two debates have passed, and they have heard nothing from the other three registered parties. That's the UIC, the JPP, and the Independents. However, the two major parties were more embattled, or and they were more diving into smaller issues than the big picture, and that's the economy. It's a big picture, guys, and I don't think that any of them really nailed it. So we have to now turn to the leaders, and the duties of the leaders in the next debate is to show clear wisdom in leadership and a clear mission of growth and inclusion, and also how to heal a broken nation. So the third debate, which is going to be the leaders, I think this coming debate tomorrow will be the final opportunity for them to drive home their point. There's a lot of deficiencies in the economy of Jamaica, and the people are feeling the brunt of it. And there's 9 years of this government. You have now the PNP has been out of power for a very long time, and I do not see a clear path on either side that has been laid out in a proper way. So let's see tomorrow, and then we can decide. You, the voters, can decide who you really want to lead the country and what direction you want to take the country in. Because I don't see it here. There's no clear path, and it's now for both leaders. And also, I would love to hear from the other three parties, at least on the leadership side, on in this debate, for each of the five of them, from the five different parties. That's JLP, PNP, UIC, JPP, and the Independent. I'd love to hear from them. What are their opinions? Because they're on the ballot. They're seeking votes, and they're not given airtime. I don't think that's a good look. But as I said, it is now down to the leaders of each party to lay out a clear vision for the country, to show some wisdom in leadership, to lay out that vision and lay it out properly, so that the voters can have a better understanding of what direction they're going to take the country. Because you tell me in the comment section, how do you feel? How are you feeling now? How are you feeling? Because it's all about you, the voter. Are you satisfied with what's going on, or do you want to change? Have you been persuaded either way? What are you seeing on the ground really right now, and in your pockets and with your children and your family? How do you feel? Do you feel confident keeping the the current administration, or do you feel that you need to make a change? Did they do a good job in explaining everything to you? Are there deficiencies that you are questions you want answered or you need answers to? How do you feel? You know how you feel within and what you're feeling every day over the last 10 years. You know, you're the voter, you have that choice. You have the power to decide who leads the country of Jamaica. It is up to you. I do believe tomorrow is a critical debate for the leaders to come forward and say, laid out their clear vision. That's going to be the decider. What do you think? Say it in the comment section. Say it in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful. It was great. So let's move on. I'll comment on the third debate on Friday, and look out for that because I'm going to be watching that debate tomorrow. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's touch on some immigration news. Oh, you did not get away. So let's U.S. immigration news, and I wanted to first inform you, the audience, that there's now a neighborhood check for those who are applying for citizenship. Yeah, it's happening, guys. It used to happen, but now it's more so. They're placing more emphasis on that right now. So I want to share that with you, and let's see. Let's get into it here, and let me get it. Okay, neighborhood checks. Here we go. So let's get that on the screen, and let's see what they have to say. So this is CBS News, and this is breaking news. I'd say it's still breaking news because it came out a couple of days now. So here we go.
Federal immigration officials are now being instructed to expand their criteria of a key requirement for U.S. citizenship, demonstrating a, quote, good moral character has been a long-standing requirement for citizenship under both Republican and Democratic administrations. That requirement was previously seen as fulfilled if an applicant has a clean criminal record. CBS News immigration and politics reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins us now. Camilo, thank you so much for being here with us. This is interesting because we're saying it's been a long-standing requirement here, but how will good moral character now be determined? How is that going to change? And what is the expected impact, you think, on people applying for citizenship?
Well, Nancy, just to level set, this applies to legal immigrants who have green cards or U.S. permanent residency who are looking to become naturalized U.S. citizens, American citizens through naturalization. And what we know is that historically, this good moral character question has been generally satisfied on the grounds that somebody who is applying for American citizenship does not have a violent record, any DUIs on their record, or any disqualifying conduct that is outlined in U.S. immigration law, which also includes drug offenses, for example. But now the Trump administration is seeking to expand what actually counts as a good moral character. And they are now going to be taking what they call a more holistic assessment of that question. That includes weighing positive and negative factors. Positive factors could include your involvement in the community and also your educational attainment. That can weigh in your favor when officials are deciding this question at U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. But importantly, these officials will also weigh negative factors that the agency concedes, Nancy, can be technically legal and lawful, but in their words, inconsistent with civic responsibility. What does that mean?
Yeah, right,
well,
exactly.
That could include actions, according to the agency, like repeat traffic infractions and aggressive solicitation. So that could potentially expand the grounds for officials to cite different reasons to deny citizenship applications.
What has the response to this been like?
Well, the Trump administration is arguing that this is a necessary step, Nancy, to restore integrity to a U.S. immigration system that it believes has been too lax, too generous under Democratic administrations, including under former President Joe Biden, and that it needs to implement more stringent measures to prevent fraud and other national security concerns. But I spoke to a former Biden administration official who said this change is designed to allow officials to deny more citizenship applications, to scare legal immigrants. And he said, quote, that this is torturing the definition of good moral character to encompass what he calls extremely harmless behavior, including those traffic offenses that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it could make a huge difference for so many. Thank you very much for joining us. We always appreciate
course.
getting to see you.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
This Labor Day weekend.
so let's get that off the screen. And it is a big deal right now in terms of citizenship because there's a lot more scrutiny being employed to make sure that you're squeaky clean. So not that you won't get through if you have a few things going on, but always remember to speak to an immigration specialist, speak to an immigration attorney. You can always contact me, and I'll point you in the right direction, guys. Here you go. My numbers are down below. But this is a big deal. It's a big change in terms of the focus now on those who are applying for citizenship. So the focus has shifted to more of a good moral character, and they're looking into the community more now to see who you are. Your social media, that good stuff. You know, if you're habitual traffic, if you have traffic offenses, especially DUIs and DWIs and so on, it's a big deal. You get what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you understand before you make that application what your chances are of getting that citizenship the first time. The first time. So you got to understand that whatever you send to USCIS, that's U.S. immigration, it's there for life. So you can't take it back. And also, you got to understand what you're sending in terms of what you're putting in your application, because it will make a huge difference in your life. So you know before you go. That's what I say. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's touch on domestic violence. Domestic violence is a deportable offense, but these days, let me first bring it on here so you can hear it first from the attorneys, and then we'll take it from there. So let's get to it. Here we go, and let's get that on the stage for you. That's Attorney McBean, and let's hear from her what she has to say. Here we go, ladies.
Domestic violence, friends, is a deportable offense, even if it's a misdemeanor. Before you file a VAWA case, if you have this domestic violence on your record, speak with an immigration lawyer. Sometimes, however, what happens in cases of abuse is that the abuser makes it seem like you're the abuser and you're actually the victim. Law enforcement knows that this happens all the time with domestic violence cases. If that's what happened to you, there is a way to explain it to immigration. Speak with us about what's going on there. Domestic violence.
So, you can be entrapped in a domestic violence case. So you need to speak to an immigration attorney in order to figure out your case and your position. Because if you don't, then you can find yourself on a deportation list. You get what I'm saying? So you got to be absolutely careful moving forward when it comes to domestic violence, because that is a hot topic, and it's also a topic for deportation. So you got to be absolutely careful, guys. Be careful. So let's touch on social media posts that are federal crimes. So let me get that on screen for you. You wouldn't believe that some social media posts are federal crimes. So let's get that here to you. So let's see. Um, social media posts. Let's get Attorney McBean up here to explain that to you. A lot of things are sensitive these days, guys. You got to pay attention because it will hit you like a ton of bricks if you don't know. Here we go.
There's a federal offense that you might not be aware of, and it's about making threatening communications on social media to other people. And ICE just nailed someone for this, and I'm going to talk about that story shortly. But it's making threatening interstate communications against an individual, and it's 18 USC Code, Section 875. Whoever transmits in interstate or foreign commerce any communication containing any threat to kidnap any person or any threat to injure the person of another shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 5 years or both. And of course, some folks can get up to 20 years for extortion, trying to get money out of companies, firms, other individuals, and they threaten those companies via social media. They make threats to either kidnap or injure that person, shall be fined or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. It's really deep. On July 22nd, ICE arrested a man, Anthony Marcus Kelly, 38-year-old man, who made threatening comments on social media, threatening to kill ICE agents. And apparently he made two threats, 2 posts apparently, and he was arrested and he's in federal custody, and they brought his case before a grand jury, and the grand jury indicted him. Now, of course, grand jury indictments, they don't mean that an individual is guilty. The case has to go all the way until the end to prove guilt. But what's interesting here is that this man, Anthony, used a social media username, SLAB, SLAB. That's it. They were able to find him anyway, and he made really bad comments and threats to kill ICE agents. And they have him for 2-count indictment for making threats to assault or murder a United States official and with making threatening interstate communications. So not a very smart thing to do, but be aware of this even as you're interacting with each other. Right now, obviously, this is not something we hear about every day that's happening in federal courts. Of course, it's really up to the prosecutor whether to take this kind of charge or allegations very seriously, but you should be aware of the fact that you shouldn't be threatening anyone on social media. There's a federal offense that you might not.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those who like to be on social media and horse around with their friends, families, and so on, and some people send threatening messages because there's you have a tit for tat. It's a federal offense to threaten someone on social media. So you've got to be careful because once you put it out there, it's there for life. So there's no taking it back once you put it out there. And it's a federal offense, which includes jail time. So you don't want to be caught up in those fumble doubles. You know what I mean? So you stay away from that. You get what I'm saying? So, be careful, guys. Be careful. So here we go. So the IRS is also giving USCIS information or U.S. immigration, and the information that they're using can also cause some people to be denaturalized, and those who are not in good standing or good status with the United States, they can find you because these are critical information. So let's hear about this right now, and then we'll take it from there. So here we go, guys. Let's get that on the screen and let Attorney McBean give you some updates as to what's going on there with the IRS. So here we go.
The IRS is snitching on people's addresses. Let's talk about it. I think the biggest issue regarding the IRS has to do with Not so much the addresses. It's easy to find addresses, I think, for the government to find addresses when they really try to do so. I think the biggest issue with the IRS has to do with how they're going to be used for potential denaturalization efforts. And what I'm referring to is the fact that the Justice Department has put it out there that denaturalization is one of the top 5 priorities for the Civil Division to pursue litigation against individuals to denaturalize them. And they've really broadened the categories or reasons why they could do this to more people. And falsifying tax records or underreporting income or any of those other tax related issues, you were never arrested for them, you were never convicted. It doesn't even matter. What matters is that it's pre-naturalization conduct. And on your N400 application, you said no to the question of whether you had ever committed any kind of crime for which you were never arrested for. So that's how they're going to be using the IRS to get some information about people to use it as a basis against them for denaturalization. Some lawyers, I've seen one lawyer in particular who said, "Oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to be anything. It's very complex to do denaturalization." Yes, it is complex, but the way that we see things going, I think it's prudent for us to recognize the fact that the government is pushing things as far as they could possibly go. And so the civil denaturalization process is one of those things that I'm taking seriously. And I think some people should as well.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you got to take it seriously. So if you have issues in the past with stuff that you said on your prior to your naturalization for citizenship, then you need to talk about it with an immigration attorney. So you know your own case, so you know what to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk. If you think that's bad, there's going to be more ICE raids at companies, so you got to beware and be prepared. So let's have the attorneys talk about that, and let's hear what Attorney McBean has to say about this. Here, let's get that on the screen, and then here we go. So let's hear about.
I'm here
Great.
reviewing an ICE raid protocol and preparation document that we prepared for one of our corporate clients. Friends, if you're in business and you're concerned about the possibility of an ICE raid at your place of business or organization, start early, work early with an immigration attorney to get something in place to get your employees trained and to be ahead of things so that you're not blindsided by this. Quite a bit of responsibility that the employer has to prepare for something like this. Contact us. We work on these types of protocols. Come in, have an appointment, or do a video appointment with us. We'd be happy to sit down with you and discuss how you can prepare your business.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just beware. There's going to be more ICE raids at more business. So be prepared. It's coming. Okay. So there's no joke about that. So we're going to go into some community news, guys. I'm going to talk about some community news and events that are going to go on. Then we're going to close the show. So there's a couple of things I want to say at the end, and so stay tuned. Thank you for being here on Naram Promotions, the Real Deal podcast show, and also. Always remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. So we have, if you remember, on September 28th, Rakesh's memorial. That's going to be at Well Road in New Forest District in Manchester. Please share this. Be there to support the family of Rakesh. It's the memorial. It's the 1-year anniversary of his passing. So support the family in the best way you can, ladies and gentlemen. This is a worthy cause. Lend support to that family. They've lost a loved one, and it's never good. So if you can gather there and give them that moral support and also monetary support, go ahead. It's on September 28th at Well Road in New Forest, and you're going to have some good musical entertainment by Tata Mobile Sound. So here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, also remembering Karma Penn. You remember Chrissy Boo? Chrissy Boo, her setup is on August 29th. You know where August 29th is, right? Okay, if tomorrow is the 28th, or today's the 28th, then you know the 29th is a day away. All right, so the setup is going to be the 29th, and also the funeral is on the 30th, and the funeral is going to be at Comapen Church of God of Prophecy in St. Elizabeth. That's Comapen District. So check it out, guys. We say condolences to the family, DJ Kino and his family. We say, a lot of condolences to you, and we say, give them the support that they need. So here we go, guys. So also I want to remind the youngsters in across Jamaica and especially in South Central Jamaica of some opportunities that are arising and is slowly slipping away. So this is the Jamaica Defense Force Open Camp Recruitment, and this is at Up Park Camp. You had one on the 18th, one on the 25th, and one that was yesterday, and the final one is going to be tomorrow, the 28th, or today, if we're past 12. Yes, today, the 28th of August. So you have this opportunity today to go to Up Park Camp at 7 a.m. That's 0700 hours to apply to be recruited into the military of in Jamaica. It's a great career opportunity. Make use of it. This is your last opportunity for this month. So we don't know when the next one is coming, but if you have not gone there yet, you have until 0700 hours to turn up at Up Park Camp in Kingston, Jamaica to make your application. So guys, check it out. It's on your screen. Go there. It's a great thing to do. If you're young, you're not employed, it's great for your resume. There's so much you can do there. You know what I mean? It's not just about patrols. There's a lot of logistic people needed. Cyber security. You're talking about IT. You name it. Coast Guard, Air Wing. You know what I mean? Engineering unit, medical, the medical field. All fields are covered. So encourage your youngster. This is the final opportunity. Tomorrow morning, 0700 hours, be at our park camp, and you make your application. It is a beautiful thing, guys. Check it out. And believe me, there's one more opportunity with the Jamaica Constabulary Force if you want to go into law enforcement. Great for your resume. It's great for the global community. It makes both the JDF and the JCF makes your resume more attractive to employers and also the global community. So Harmon Barracks at August 30th at 8 a.m. If you miss the JDF recruitment, do not miss the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Likewise, you have different areas of expertise in the JCF as well as the JDF. It's great service to serve your country. It's good for your resume. So check it out. If you're not working or you didn't get that dream job, here's one for you. It gives you a great start. You know what I mean? So it sets you your life journey's foundation for life. Okay, so check it out, guys. It's on August 30th at 8 a.m. at Harmon Barracks, 1 Deanery Road in Kingston. Check it out. Get your youngsters up there and get them recruited so that they can start their careers. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's move forward and talk about a couple parties internationally and also locally that's going on in South Central Jamaica and also within the diaspora. So we have here Poppies, Earth Strong, Cookout called Shallow Surround Me. That's Friday, this Friday, August 29th at 241-04 South Conduit Avenue in Queens, New York. So a lot of our diaspora members from South Central Jamaica are going to be turning up there. That's a big deal. And that's one of those statement parties. So just be there. I'm going to show you a couple of video clips that of those promoting the show. It is amazing, and we want to make sure that you understand that this is a big deal going on there. And here we go. So let's bring on here we let me open this and see. Yeah, here we go.
Cookout. This is one name. A Papi Cookout. We are talking about the 29th of August, man. Papi Cookout. I'm birthday. I'm Earth Strong. So come celebrate. It's gonna be great. Come say, it's gonna be great. I love over here. You wait on it. 24104 South Conduit Avenue, Queens, New York. We are going to hold them up, Papi Tom.
August 29th.
August 29th.
All right, and here we go again.
I don't know, so Papa Earth Strong, Barbie, Brandon, everybody are going to do it. Be a girl go there. I don't know thing at 29 this month. I so nice. I press a rub up on my teeth like a chicken gravy. I say jump on my cocky and say jump off back. I cook out, you know, everything I go there. Be a girl go there, be a liquor go there, and people come out earlier. So nice. I put attention on that.
All right. Yeah.
I represent for Papi Dan. In present a cookout style called Jollof Surround Me. And you don't know that at the 29th of August, place to be is 24104 South Conduit Avenue. And you don't know that at Queens, New York. Just check it out, man. It's not going normal. Be a girl away. And you don't know me, myself, Blege Boss, I represent. And I me, say Blege, roots, hip hop, and reggae. Take up with a girl all when them dead. Papi Dan, and from way back, from when time you fuck girl be back. Realings family, you're so powerful, like the apple powerful. And if you don't talk about girl, you know have a powerful. Check it out.
Goodness gracious me. Yeah, Papa King kind of low. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have also SSMG from Bull Savannah. You know, the Miami baddest DJ down there in Fort Lauderdale. He'll be having one of his birthday bash, by the way. And that's going to be a big deal. So SSMG is well known in the south of South Florida. So you got to check him out, guys. If you're in South Florida, check him out. It's going to be at Club Cutters at 215 Southwest 27th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And that's a lot of members of the diaspora from South Central Jamaica are going to be there. It's going to be a statement party. You know, one of the big things is Miami's baddest DJ. He's from Bull Savannah, St. Elizabeth. And you know him. He's been on the show and he's given his story. He's coming back in a few weeks to give you some more of his story. But this is going to be a big deal on Friday, August 29th, in Fort Lauderdale. And this is a big deal. You know what I mean? It says from nothing to something, SSMG Miami's baddest DJs birthday bash in God is the Greatest. Friday, August 29th, 2025 at Club Cutters in 215 Southwest 27th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And also you'll have entertainment by Picatone, Fire Red's Pressure, and special guest by DJ Blacks from Fort Myers and hosted by Clans Bunup Road. You know what I mean? So this is a big deal, guys. It's going to be huge down there in South Florida. Remember, that's gonna be Friday. That's a big deal for Friday. You know what I mean? So you gotta be there. And also, we have a thing called Gallus Anthem. This is gonna be a big deal on September 26th by DJ Kino. This is one of them turnover event. You know, when it overload, when it turn over. You know what I mean? That it's gonna be one of those things because we say, even though we're saying condolences to DJ Kinos on the passing of his mother, this event was booked and created long before she passed away. So this is going to be after her funeral, and I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the big statement parties down there in South Central Jamaica, and we say turn up and give him that support. Now, if I even tell you, you know what I mean? There it is. September 26th is a Friday at Wayne's Bar in Bentown, come up in Manchester. DJ Kino, his birthday celebration called Gallus Anthem, Street Dance Edition. Friday, September 26th at Wayne's Bar in Bentown, Galchester or Manchester, in Comapen, in the Compton area. So it's kind of a border between Manchester, St. Elizabeth, but it's going to be a big deal there, guys. It's going to be awesome. Star level, Lethal Stain, you know what I mean? DJ Sean, and a lot. It's going to be overloaded with the stars in terms of musical entertainment. The food is going to be great. The atmosphere is going to be, it's a statement, it's a link up kind of party, and also support for DJ Kino in his grieving as well. So just make him be happy. Wet him up with some champagne. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. This September 26th. Be there, guys. You know what I mean? It's a big deal. Yeah. Gallus Anthem. Big deal. You know what I mean? So, and we also have let's look at one that's going to be in Junction. This they call it Junction City now. And this one is the promoters have this is Impact Events. Impact has made a major impact in Junction City, we call it now. It's a big deal on October 26th in Junction City. These are affordable events which is packed with fun, and it goes across the spectrum of all ages. So there's something for everybody, and it's gonna be it's always packed on Impact Events. So check it out on October 26th in Junction City. It's gonna be a big deal. So check him out. It's gonna be here. So on December 6th, this is going to also be one of those statement parties. December 6th in Prospect District. This is going to be huge, guys. It's a year-to-year event. And we say big up to Muma Sketel on this is a birthday year-to-year kind of party. And I'm telling you, it's going to be off the chain. This is one of the parties you cannot miss. And we say every year TikTok sound comes and they throw it down, brother. You know what I mean? They throw it down. I'm telling you, it's a big deal. And I'm going to put the posters up in a second, but you got to listen to me. Share it with your friends. Share this live. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and click that notification bell. I'm telling you, this is one of the parties you cannot miss. Here we go. It's Ambition Over Hype, December 6th. Time is now car wash in Prospect District in Manchester. We say big up to Muma Sketel. This is going to be a huge event. Here we go. You know what I mean? So you have TikTok Sound, DJ Splendid, and a lot more DJs are going to be passing through. You got to be there. It's a big deal in Prospect District. In December, we're going to talk a lot more about this in the coming weeks. So get yourself ready. Start get the you know what I mean. Just put on the money for that date there. It's all big. Yeah. So also you have Randy and Otis. Randy and Otis will be having their party on Boxing Day. And that's also the same day that O'Neill Ashmead, my nephew, Treddy, will be having his year-to-year party. I haven't seen the posters yet, but I think that he'll be keeping it this year because his thing goes on every year, but they're in two different locations. So we say Randy and Otis, they will be having their stuff in Buckup. I think it's Buckup, yeah. So let's get that on the screen. And that's going to be in Buckup District. Mango Tree Bar, Turnatop. They're going to be having it on Friday, December 26th with Eagle Force and DJ Fireblacks. And that's going to be a big deal with the Rum Fatigue crew and all all the rum crew. Yeah, they'll be there. So this is going to be a big deal at Mango Tree Bar, Turnatop. Check it out, guy. Randy and Otis will be having their stuff going on there, and it's gonna be a big deal. So hats off to them. Big up yourself. It's gonna be amazing. You know what I mean? So do remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in South Central Jamaica, always remember to stop by the Mystic Inn because that's my place, and you can hang out there, have fun, and till the crows come home, the roosters start crowing. You know what I mean? So it's very secure and a beautiful spot to be. It's right there it's going to be right there on your screen. If you don't know where it is, that's the Mystic Inn. Check it out, guys. That's my place, so check it out. It's a beautiful place to be. So have fun if you're in the South Central of Jamaica. Always remember to check the Mystic Inn, and you may be surprised with a gift. So here we go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being a part of this show. And we say always pray when you're going out, pray when you're coming in, and always remember God is in control. Thank you for being here. And we say we'll see you at the next show. God bless you, and God keep you safe and your family safe. And we say hats off to you. One love every time. Naram Promotions is at you.